El Museo Nacional de Arte Mexicano, en la ciudad de Chicago, es la institución de cultura mexicana más grande fuera de México, con alrededor de 21,000 obras en su acervo. Este museo tiene un acuerdo con UNESCO para garantizar la legal procedencia de las obras con las que cuenta el mismo. Opera bajo un esquema de cooperación voluntaria, por lo que no tiene un costo fijo de ingreso. El director y fundador, el maestro Carlos Tortolero, brindó una entrevista para el Heraldo USA.
My name is Carlos Tortolero. I'm president and founder of the National Museum of Mexican Art. I founded the museum in 1982. I'm a former teacher, council administrator with the school system. Love the kids, did not like the system, but love being with the kids. I got a group of friends together, 5 other people, all teachers, all from the southeast side of Chicago. We all work in the southeast side of Chicago. And said, let's do a museum. They thought it was crazy. I am. But let's, we had to do a museum with a 5-year plan, and we did it. And the arts world did not receive us well. And that totally shocked me. In fact, they would say, we're just teachers. The word just was like, what do you mean just? I think that says a lot about what's wrong with education in this country, that teachers don't get the respect they used to. When I was a kid, the teacher was like, wow, it's not true anymore. I think that says a lot about what's wrong with schools in the United States, I really do. But they would say to me, you can't do a museum in a working class area. You can't do a museum, an art museum, in a working class neighborhood. They don't know nothing about the arts. And the interesting thing about, and third thing was, you cannot be free. And that's interesting because here we are, we're founded in 87, right? We've always been free. And during COVID, how many funds that we lost in the front desk? None, because we're free. I sincerely believe, and to my dying day would believe, that the arts are part of the human experience. You have to understand and get to know arts and culture. If you don't, in a way, you haven't lived properly, in a sense. But too often the arts world denies the arts for everybody. And the interesting thing about the arts, it's not the right, it's the left. So it is the progressives who really are the ones who control the arts in this country. And they're the ones who make sure the leaders. So you have the right attacking Mexicanos, then you have the left that doesn't appreciate our art. Who's on our side in this country? That's a problem. The art world is very elitist. It is. And as the large institutions are struggling to change, the reason they can't change is you have to admit that you have a problem. For example, it's called Alcoholics Anonymous. It's not called I think I have a problem Anonymous. So if you do not identify the problem, then you can't change it. You cannot change it. And so until they admit, we're very elite and we've been racist, we have to change, it's not going to change. That they do any little thing and it's a checklist, like Latino Heritage Month. I'm not for these months. I'm alive 12 months of the year. Is there White History Month in this country? Is there European History Month? No, because they have it year round. Why? It's crazy. So this whole month celebration, no. And plus, we didn't create this, the government created it. And culture comes from us, it comes from the people. It does not come from the government. So I have a lot of problems with it. You don't stop being, a Mexicano when you cross the border. You just do not. The culture is there, you bring it. It's, all the traditions, all the stories. I love it when we have grandparents who come with the grandchildren here, right? And they're showing their grandchildren on the map. And they go, see, this is Jalisco. And see, right, that's where I'm from, or this is Michoacan. And the kids, they look at their grandparents like, wow. I think that's beautiful. So we have all these great traditions. And they're part of you. So you don't throw them out the window. They're part. In fact, I feel sorry for a lot of the white Americans here. They've lost their culture. Like you ask them, so what are you? He goes, wait, I know I'm part Italian, and I know I have a German great-grandfather. How do you not know? It's beyond me. How do you not know? And culture to me is not something that divides us. It's something that should, unite us. Culture is something we can brag about. And every group of people who have ever gotten together have a culture. And it's great. Look at Mexico, it still has, 60 groups of, indigenous people who still have their culture. And there's something about a language where you almost have to know it to more understand that culture. It really is. There's something about, like, the words that we use as Mexicanos, that they hit home. I mean, they say, wow, I get what you're talking about. And people in the United States don't appreciate culture, and that's sad. That's sad. I mean, if you told me tomorrow, guess what, you're not Mexican. You were not born in Mexico, you were born in Mars or something, I'm still Mexican, man. I'm Mexicano. Then if you're born like Chavela Vargas just say, right? I don't want to swear, but a Mexicano can be born wherever the blank they want to be born. That's my philosophy too. Yeah, I would say the hard stuff is always you haven't raising money. You're always raising money. That never you're constantly, when I talk to people from Europe who have the museums, the state pays for everything. Wow, it's like we're always having to worry about money. I think the hardest thing, and I talked about earlier, people, make a name of 25 people who were here when we did the museum back in '87 when we opened doors. And you talked about the museum. Oh, I knew it was going to work. Oh, yeah, sure, I knew. Carl knows what he was doing. That's a lie. They didn't. Very few people had faith in us. That's sad. That's something I didn't expect. That I was wrong, 100% wrong. I thought the arts was going to embrace us, and they really didn't. Now, yes, but now we're here. And what are they going to do? But that surprised me. That shocked me. And we always knew we had to do it in Pilsen. And that's the name of this community. It was, Bohemian community, okay, working class. This has always been a working class community. That's what about Chicago I do like. When and I've been in places back east in New York and Boston. So what did your father do? Oh, my father. I had to get a Coke, I'll be right back. Because his father maybe was a factory worker. In Chicago, they say, my father was a factory worker. He worked in the steel mills 35 years. They say it with pride. So we do have that work ethic. So, be proud of that. I think that's what's good about Chicago. I think that's something I like about Chicago. Okay, I don't want to be accepted. Okay, respected. Accepted, only my community does that, not the outside community. Respect, you better respect me. There's no compromise on that. We have the high art and low art, and, European culture is the high art, supposedly. Did I vote? I didn't remember voting on this. I always tell people, if you want to play the game whose culture is the best, it's a dumb game to play. But if you're going to play, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. So bring it on. I'm going to win. So I think it's important that the culture maker is so incredible. That kind of stuff. And the Mexican culture is incredible, and, I was raised with all the great stories about Mexico. My grandma had so many great stories about Mexico, my parents. And so we were always to be super proud of being Mexican. And, my kids are born in Chicago, and son Mexicanos. I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, you don't lose your culture when you cross the borders. There's something about being Mexicano that you feel it, and some people don't understand that. It's hard to explain, but there's a connection. I don't want to call it a spiritual connection, some kind of special magic that, bind you to Mexico. Let me give you a perfect example, and you'll see downstairs when you see the galleries. Arte Popular has been very important for us. We help, we've gotten visas for so many, artistas that, who are Arte Popular, for come to the United States, and then they go to parts of the United States. So in a sense, we bring them and we share them, So they get invited to other things because of us. Right now I've gotten visas for 9 people in the last 3 months. We're big about that. We want to help our community as much as possible. And I should mention one point, we're not trying to change what a museum is. We've changed what the museum is. It's not a plan. We are a different model of a museum. And, but anyway, there's a space there you'll see that we have a section of Arte Popular, and it's in contemporary art from Mexico. We get people in Mexico, how can you do this? ¿cómo puedes poner arte popular con pinturas? Like we're crazy. And that's, oh, don't worry about it. The paintings, every night they write me a letter saying, we're leaving this neighborhood. Ya no sirve para nada. Because, anybody can live in this neighborhood. That's how elitist the art world is. Or our walls. But all the art spaces, the walls are like this color. Not, because it's a boardroom. It's not an art space. They're gray, white, cream. Because the artwork, the painting shouldn't clash. To me, a great work of art, I don't care what color's behind, you can see it. And says, plus, have you been to Mexico? Mexico's in white, off-white, gray. Mexico's color. So why do you have to abide by your rules? Because you're the art establishment? No. You're wrong. I'm not wrong. You're wrong. So fighting that, there were people who would tell us early on, they let anybody come to the museum. They're free. Like we should have walls or something. One of my best stories, and I have a lot, was I was walking from the back. So I'm walking from the back, and I see a father with his son about 8, 9 years old, and talking in Spanish. And the father has a jumpsuit on, kind of like the car mechanics have with the zipper here. And I knew he was a car mechanic just from the, And when he turned around, I could see he was. And he gives his son $1 to put in our donation box. We're free, but you want to give money, there's donation, but it's not forced. Si quieres. And the son turns to him, ¿Y por qué estamos haciendo esto? Es gratis. And the father says, sí, and we want to make sure it stays free. That father gets it. The arts world doesn't get it, but he gets it. It's important that they feel part of this. We didn't have a painting of the Guadalupe. And it really bothered me, a nice one. And we finally got one, and so we're buying it. So we did a campaign, ayúdanos a tener la Virgencita aquí en Chicago. So people give us money, but some people would just give us $1, and you can see that was a lot to them. I was so happy. You don't have to give $1,000. $1, it depends who gives it to you. And you see people come back and they tell people, mira, nosotros estamos aquí y compramos la Virgencita para el museo. I love when they say that. It's true. Even though it's just $1, it all adds up at the end. So trying to make the arts accessible for everybody is important to me. When we were kids, all the museums were free in Chicago. All were free. Go to museums now and see how much they cost. It's crazy. There was 4 of us in the family. There's no way my parents would have been able to take us to museums. We went to museums all the time when we were a kid. But there's no way that we could afford them today. That's sad. I remember Museum of Anthropology in Mexico. It was like maybe 20 United States cents or something. It was dirt cheap. And the stands there, who worked the stands, the little kids who asked their parents for dinero to go inside the museum. Now it's like $3.80. No por ahí. And that's, y son, gente de pueblo, es originario, ¿verdad? Y no por ahí es un museo. They should all be free. They should be, si eres pueblo originario, o si no tienes dinero, no importa. Come on. They should be free. That creates the classes that you see in the arts world. And the art world is all about classes. It really is. Who goes to things, who don't go to things. And that separation is not good. And once again, most of the people who run art organizations are progressives. So they create this elitism, this racism in a sense. And that's bad. So I think it's important that we don't tolerate this stuff. That's not good. We have to speak up. And museum speaks up. And that makes us a difference. They say in the museum world that museums should not have agendas, right? Every museum has an agenda. If you're the big museums and you show all artists from Europe, that's not an agenda? What is that? The only difference is we're honest about our agenda. We're pro-Mexicano. We're pro-immigration. I'm sorry, you don't like it, don't come, Or people would say, how do you do museum only, on the culture of Mexico? And I tell them in a loud voice, don't ever say that again. That's racism. Would you say that about the French? Would you say that about the Italians? Come on. But only Mexican? No. No, I don't tolerate that stuff. I just can't. Racism, you have to say to their face. You can't, go around the corner. No, you have to call it when it is.